So after all this time, I've decided I'm going to make videos again. Well, gonna do my best. Breaking news: Indian Army colonel, a colonel, commanding officer of an infantry battalion, and two army Jawans killed in action during a clash with Chinese troops in one of the standoff points in the Galwan Valley, Ladakh. I think I actually kind of expected this because there has been a border dispute between India, Pakistan, and China, even China, in the Jammu Kashmir area. For those who don't know, Jammu and Kashmir is this region in northern India and northeast Pakistan, wherein they've been having a lot of tension ever since India and Pakistan split up. Now, if you're familiar with the history of India and China going way back to the dawn of civilization, they're both parts of what was the four great valley civilizations. It was Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley Civilization, and China. And among all four of them, China is the only one that still exists to this day. Well, you can say the Indus Valley Civilization, that's mostly India, but then again, India as a country, as a unified nation, has only existed since the 50s. And it's kind of surprising that the two big kind of superpowers, powers, the great powers of that region, India, the subcontinent, and China, the huge ass, almost superpower now at this point, it's surprising that they've never really clashed in a major war. But if you're familiar with the role of geography in world history, you'd know that there's this big thing called the Himalayas that's separating China and India. And guess what? There is a border dispute between China and India in that region, just where the Himalayas ends. There it is, Arunachal Pradesh, which right now is Indian territory, but China is now claiming, ever since 2006, they've been claiming it's Chinese territory. Indian Army confirms 3 deaths. Arunachal Pradesh is not where this incident happened. This happened in Ladakh, and which is in the Jammu Kashmir area. Here's Kashmir, here's Jammu. That's a problem between India and Pakistan. And then here is Ladakh. This incident happened here, not there. There it is. The Galwan Valley is right over here, right nearby the Galwan River. Here's the thing about Pakistan. China has been locking out India for all this time through their Belt and Road Initiative. Basically, what they do is they build ports in a lot of the countries that their Belt and Road Initiative goes through. As you can see, that risk of countries involved in the Belt and Road Initiative, guess what? One of them is Pakistan. Uh-oh. And soon enough, the Philippines is going to be in there as well, because we're kind of falling into a debt trap too. They loaned $1.5 billion to Sri Lanka, built ports there so that they have a port in the Indian Ocean, which is a very important shipping lane, as well as the Maldives. That's another one, because the Indian Ocean gives them access to both the Arabian Peninsula and the Horn of Africa. These two straits are very important shipping lanes because it gives you access to both the Middle East and Europe by sea. And of course, this area is very rich in oil. Right now, the US has a good hold of what goes on here, but China wants a big piece of that. Remember, China has a pretty good control over a lot of Central Africa right now. China has been thinking ahead for decades now. Yeah, as you can see, here are the shipping lanes, and here's Pakistan. Guess what? They have one there too. So they kind of have Pakistan by the balls now. So that leaves India against two countries. If ever they go to war, Pakistan will most likely be on China's side. And guess what? China, Pakistan, and India all have nukes. Uh-oh. China got the nuke in 1960, then India around the 70s, if I remember correctly, and then Pakistan in the 90s. There were even celebrations in Lahore when they finally had the bomb. Thanks, AK Khan. Yes, that is called the string of pearls. This whole shipping lane right here, all the way to Sudan, as you can see. And meanwhile, the nations over here, as you've seen earlier, they're also in a debt risk with China. So guess what? With Sri Lanka, the Maldives, and all these STAN countries under the grip of China, that leaves India alone. They're playing Go! Once again, it's like the Spratlys. They are playing Go with geopolitics. And meanwhile, America is going back to a sort of isolationist stance while China has a party going on the other side of the world. Have it your way, Donald Trump. Meanwhile, you're not going to win this America versus China economic war. You're not going to win. You want to bring manufacturing back to America? Guess what? It's going to be too expensive because of all the problems that America has right now. Meanwhile, China, still the top manufacturing nation in the world. And of course, as with any war, it's all about who has the most resources. During the de-escalation process underway in the Galwan Valley, a violent face-off took place yesterday night with casualties on both sides. The loss of lives on the Indian side include an officer and two soldiers. Senior military officials of the two sides are currently meeting at the venue to defuse the situation. Because if they're not able to defuse it, guess what? Probably World War III. Then again, America did kill an Iranian general with an airstrike, and that kind of got de-escalated. World War III was supposed to happen earlier this year. Well, we're not in World War III yet, technically, so maybe there's hope. Yeah. All right, from a Chinese, based on what I know, Chinese side also suffered casualties. I want to tell the Indian side, don't be arrogant and misread China's restraint as being weak. China doesn't want to have a clash with India, but we don't fear it. Okay. Whatever you say. Beijing accuses China of provoking and attacking Chinese personnel, resulting in serious physical confrontation between border forces on two sides. In recent weeks, thousands of extra troops have been deployed from both sides of the 3,488-kilometer unmarked border. Let's end it with this editorial by the Indian Express. Explained why China is flexing its muscle. There's Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has been pushing Hindu nationalism throughout India, which has been causing a lot of problems for the Muslim minority in India. That division goes way back, way back. Tensions on the line of actual control between Indian security forces and China's PLA, the People's Liberation Army, have renewed the question of how New Delhi should deal with a rising assertive Beijing. The Chinese establishment and others are using changed constitutional status of Jammu and Kashmir to justify the PLA's aggression and make Beijing a party to the Kashmir conflict. Jammu and Kashmir, as an administered state by India, was dissolved in October of 2019. They passed the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act, which contained provisions that dissolved the state and reorganized it into two union territories, with effect from October 31, 2019. At the time of this dissolution, Jammu and Kashmir was the only state in India with a Muslim majority population. As I've said before, Hindu nationalism is in the air in India right now, and guess what? Muslims have been getting the short end of the stick. The reasons behind China's muscle flexing, in fact, are the PLA's growing military capabilities and the political will to use them. So now China is actually making its military might known. Before, they've been kind of hush-hush. Yeah, sure, the PLA is the largest army in the world, But they've been trying to dominate geopolitics through economic means at first. But now they're saying, yeah, we got big guns too. America, let's play. Well, not America, but more like indirectly showing America, hey, we're not afraid to use our arms. And they're demonstrating it with India, which, well, don't underestimate India. They're the second largest country in terms of population. They would also have a pretty large military force. And like I've said before, India has the bomb and China has the bomb. So they're both nuclear nations. So is this true? Is this true? Is it actually happening? India superpower 2020. They're just delayed by 6 months or so, but is it actually going to happen? Oh no. Shiva help us all. We have COVID-19 and we have this. Oh boy, 2020, you have been very interesting. Kobe's dead. We're dying. And now everything is going to go kaboom. The whole world is going to go kaboom. Well, at least India is going to be a superpower now. So, congratulations, I guess.